a little treat for today. That was Lillian. You guys get to see what she looks like. But today we're going to start on homework 12-3. We're going to be focusing in on the shifts up and down, the vertical shifts that you guys see that are going to be shifting up and down. We're going to be going ahead and graphing cosine x. And this right here, this -2, means that we're going to shift every single point 2 units down. Now, some of you guys can start to go ahead and just do it at once and not go ahead and graph the cosine x first. And you guys realize it starts at 1, and when you shift 2 units down, you're going to go ahead and be at -1. But for most of people, I think it's a very good idea that you guys go ahead and graph cosine and then shift every point 2 units down. So again, we're going to be focusing in on our 5 key points. We have 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. Because it's cosine, we start at the amplitude, end at the amplitude. So we're going to start at 1, go to 0, -1, back to 0, and 1. Here we're going to be focusing in on from 0 to 360, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have 90, 180, 270, 360, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so I'm going to go up by 2s. 1, 2, that's going to be 1, 1, 2, that's going to be 2, 1, 2, that's going to be 3, 2, -1, -2, -3. You have to realize that because we have a -1, and if we shift that -1 2 units down, we have to make sure that we're able to get to that -3. So when you guys are doing that, just be very careful. So for this, we're going to start at 1. We're going to go to 0. We're going to go to -1, back up to 0, and to 1. And make sure that you guys have that curve, like I know a lot of you guys I was commenting have that more of a V shape. You guys need to make sure that it's curved, okay? All right, so now we have to do this vertical shift 2 units down, okay? So you're gonna take this right here. It's at 1, you're gonna move it down 2 units. You're gonna be at -1. This is 0, move it down 2 units. You're gonna be at -2. This is at -1, move it down 2 units. We're going to be at -3, 0, move it down 2 units. We're going to be at -2, and here we're at 1, move it down 2 units, and we're going to be at 1. Okay, and this right here, oops, is y equals cosine x -2. Okay, and this one right here was just y equals cosine x. But when you guys answer these questions, you are answering these questions based on the equation that's given. So we're going to be basing it on this one right here, okay? So the max right there, the highest point is -1. The min, -3. The equation to the midline is the halfway between the highest, the max, and the min. So you guys can see we're at -2. So y is equal to -2. And my amplitude, your amplitude is always right out in front. You'll see that your amplitude is 1. Okay, moving out to the next question right here. This one we have 2 things going on. The first thing that we have is we have a reflection, and that every point is going to be moved 2 units up, and we're going to be dealing with sine. Now remember, sine starts at 0 starts at 0, midway at 0, and we end at 0. But usually sine, we start at 0, we go up to 1, back down to 0, to -1 to 0. But this is going to be reflected or flipped. So instead of going up to 1, it's going to go to -1, to 0, back to 1, to 0. Okay, and again, that's just y equals negative sine x. We haven't done the transformation of moving that up 2 units. So you guys can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A lot of you guys who are not labeling your x and your y axis, please make sure that you guys do that. When I was checking your work, I was looking and I made a lot of comments about you guys not labeling your x and your y. It's very important that you guys go ahead and do that. You guys are going to notice that we're going to be shifting these points 2 units up. So if we're at 1 and we shift this up 2 units, we're going to have to get to 3. So make sure you guys leave space. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. This is 1, 2, and 3. -1, -2, -3. Okay, so we're going to start at 0. We're going to go to -1, back to 0, to +1, and to 0. Okay, and this is your y equals negative sine x. Okay, now we're going to be moving all of these and shifting all these points 2 units up. This is a vertical shift, so we're going to move that 2 units up, 2 units up, 2 units up. Okay, so your graph should look like this right here, and we have y is equal to negative sine x plus 2. And we talked about if you forget any of these key points here, you guys can just go ahead and put negative sine of 0, negative sine of 90, negative sine, and you also technically can just go ahead and put negative sine 90 plus 2, and it'll give you all of your key points with this transformation of moving it up 2 units. So you're more than welcome to do that too. All right, so again, when you're answering the questions, you're looking at what they're asking for right here. So your max, your highest point here is at 3. Your min, your lowest point, 1. Your equation of the midline is the midpoint between your max and your min. So that's going to be y is equal to 2. And again, whatever here, your amplitude is always in front of that sign, and it's an amplitude of 1. You see a negative, and that's a lot of kids want to write -1, but you guys have to realize that that negative is actually a reflection over the x-axis. Okay, and last but not least, we're going to go ahead and graph this last one. We have our x, we have our y. Now we're dealing with cosine. Remember, cosine starts at the amplitude, ends at the amplitude, where sine starts at 0, ends at 0. So we're going to focus in on our 5 key points. So we know that we start at the amplitude, end at the amplitude. Our amplitude is sitting right out in front, and we can answer this question right here. What is the amplitude? The amplitude is 3. Okay, then we go to 0, -3, back to 0, to 3. And again, you can put all those in your calculator if you ever have a hard time. So we're going to go ahead and label the x. I'm going to do it in radians. Again, if you guys feel comfortable with degrees, you stick to degrees, but we have pi over 2 radian, which is equal to 90. Pi radian is equal to 180. 3 pi over 2 radian is 270. and 2 pi radian is equal to 360. Okay, and now we have to label our y. We know that we have to move every single point 2 units down. So if you're at -3, I always look over here and say, because I have to figure out how I want to label this. If you're at -3 and need to move that point 2 units down, we need to get to -5. So we're really just going to be counting by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we're going to start at the amplitude, 0, -3, back to 0, into 3. And that's y is equal to 3 cosine x. And now we're going to shift every point 2 units down. So 1, 2. Okay, and now we have our y equals 3 cosine x minus 2. With that vertical shift down 2 units. Okay, and you guys can see that our max is 1, the min -5. The equation, y is equal to -2. You guys want to find the midway between that, and our amplitude is 3. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, have a great day. If you have any questions, please let me know.